Hi. Today's presentation is designed to help you review the most important and most basic elements of sentences. Sentences are the fundamental building blocks of everything we write, so it's important to write them well. I know a lot of the information in today's presentation will be review for you, and that's okay. It's good to start with review. In fact, at the end of this presentation, you're going to create your own mini reviews of the same content. So look out for what seems familiar, but also be on the lookout for a couple details that might introduce new or more detailed understandings of those things you've covered in the past. Let's get started with a definition. A complete sentence consists of a subject and a predicate, and it must express a complete idea. All three of those things are important. There may be more than one subject, there can be more than one predicate, there may even be more than one complete idea, but you need at least one of each for a complete sentence. What do we mean when we're talking about subjects? Well, the subject names what the sentence is about. Maybe the sentence is about a girl, or Denver, raccoon, a house, or even Justin Bieber. All of these things are nouns, so you're really looking for the person, place, thing, or idea that is the main part of the sentence. What is it really about? The predicate, instead, identifies what the subject is or is doing. Plays, contains, ate, stands, canceled. All of these are verbs. Okay? So the subjects are generally connected with nouns, and the predicates are generally verbs. Once in a while they look like something different, but we'll worry about that later on. Right now, look at what happens when you put the subjects and predicates and all of their modifiers together. Modifier is really just a fancy word for describer or something that completes an idea. For example, in the first sentence, the girl with the red hair plays soccer. If we had to really reduce this, it's about a girl and she plays. That's your simple subject and predicate. All of the other things just complete or give you extra information. She has red hair, and she's playing soccer. Denver contains many museums and arenas. A possum in the backyard ate lots of the vegetables in our garden. The house stands in the middle of a meadow, and Justin Bieber canceled the end of his tour. All of these have something the sentence is about, and then a predicate that identifies what the subject is doing. There are a couple different ways to talk about subjects and predicates. The first way is to talk about simple versus complete subjects and predicates. In the two examples on this page, the simple subject and the simple predicates are underlined and in bold. Again, those are the single words, just the noun or just the verb in the subject or predicate. When we talk instead about complete subjects and predicates, we're talking about the entire subject, the subject with all of its modifiers. So in the first sentence, the complete subject is the girl with the red hair. The girl with the red hair. Simple subject is just girl. That's the noun that the sentence is really about. Likewise, the complete predicate is plays soccer. But again, the simple is just the verb plays. In the second example, see if you can figure out what the complete subject is. Think for a moment. The complete subject is the possum in the backyard. The simple is just possum. The complete predicate is ate lots of the vegetables in our garden. The simple is ate, just the verb. Okay? The other thing that can complicate even basic subjects and predicates is when there's more than one of them. When there is more than one thing that the sentence is about, we say it has a compound subject. For example, when instead you write about the girl with the red hair and her sister, that is a compound subject. Girl and sister are both doing the verb and the predicate. They both play. That is a compound subject. In the second example, you have a compound predicate instead. There's still only one subject, the possum, but now he ate and destroyed. Two verbs in the predicate. That is a compound predicate. Note that both of those, the compound subject and the compound predicate, use the coordinating conjunction and to join them. You might see or instead, but usually you see and with compounds. When a sentence, or something that looks like a sentence, is missing a subject or a predicate, or does not express a complete idea, it's a fragment. The ones where a subject or predicate is simply missing are easy to spot, because if you read only "the girl with the red hair," you would recognize that as a fragment because you don't know anything about what she's doing. If you read only "ate lots of vegetables from the garden and destroyed the backyard," you'd be confused. You'd know it was a fragment because you don't know who's doing any of that. Those fragments are usually easy to spot. The trickier fragments are the ones that do have a subject and do have a predicate, but don't express a complete idea. For example, when the girl with the red hair plays soccer, or because Denver contains many museums and arenas, or even though Justin Bieber canceled the end of his tour. In each of those examples, you have a subject and a predicate, but there's no complete idea. What happens when the girl with the red hair plays soccer? What's the result? Because Denver contains many museums and arenas. What did you do, even though Justin Bieber canceled the end of his tour? Without that information, the sentence is not complete, and therefore, even though it has a subject and a predicate, it's still a fragment. The opposite problem happens when two or more sentences are joined without proper punctuation. That's a run-on. There are two examples here. One is "soccer is fun, tennis is better." The other is "I am exhausted, I'm going to bed early tonight." In both of those bad examples, you have two complete sentences that are joined without any punctuation or with improper punctuation. In the first example, "soccer is fun, tennis is better," there are two sentences joined with nothing at all in between. We call that kind of run-on a fused sentence because it is just fused together with no real connector. The second example, "I am exhausted, I am going to bed early tonight," has a comma between the two sentences. This kind of run-on is called a comma splice, and I'm giving you a heads up that this is the kind of run-on 7th graders make more frequently. Be careful. A comma is not enough to join two sentences. When you do want to properly join two sentences, you need either 1, a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Let's pause for a second here. Coordinating conjunction is a fancy grammar term. You probably know them better as fanboys. Fanboy stands for all 7 of the coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. When you're joining two sentences, you want a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Look at the first correction. "Soccer is fun, comma, but tennis is better." Now, you have properly joined those two sentences to avoid the run-on. The second way is to add a semicolon by itself. The semicolon is the fun punctuation mark that has a period on top and a comma on the bottom. By itself, that can be used to connect two related sentences. "Soccer is fun, semicolon, tennis is better." Finally, you might feel like that's a little choppy. Sometimes you might want to clarify the relationship between the two ideas you're combining. So the third way to properly join two sentences is to add a semicolon and a transition word and then a comma. It's really important, though, that you recognize that transition word cannot be one of the fanboys. If you're using fanboys, they go with commas. If you use a semicolon, you can use a different transition word, like however, maybe therefore, or then even. That is the right way to join two sentences so that you can avoid writing run-ons. Think about all of this, and in a moment when everyone's finished watching, Ms. Han will give you further directions.